Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving into a really rigorous textual analysis to uncover exactly how ancient legal scholars solved a highly specific statutory problem. And that problem is determining the exact, unyielding legal timeline of a single day. Now you might think defining a day is simple, right? Well, in the realm of ancient statutory interpretation, it is anything but. We're going to look closely at a brilliantly structured derivation by the scholar Rabbi Shimon ben Zoma. We'll see exactly how he bypassed a major contextual trap just to define the absolute borders of one day.
So here is our roadmap for today. 1. The mother and offspring rule. 2. The sacrificial context problem. 3. Conflicting timelines of day. 4. Analogy to the creation. And finally, 5. The final legal framework. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. The mother and offspring rule, a legal prohibition.
Okay, so the text in Leviticus lays down a very specific, totally unambiguous law regarding the slaughter of animals. It clearly states that you shall not slaughter a mother and its offspring both in one day. At first glance, this sounds like a pretty straightforward animal welfare or agricultural regulation, right? You just can't process both the parent and the child within the same daily cycle. But, as we know, in legal texts, the simplest phrases often hide the deepest complexities. Because this raises a really vital question. When exactly does one day begin and end? Pinning down the precise parameters of this timeline is absolutely crucial. Think about it. If you don't know when the legal clock starts ticking and when it stops, it's literally impossible to follow the law. You might think you're acting on a brand new day, but legally, you could still be operating right inside that prohibited window. We really need a precise definition.
Part 2. The sacrificial context problem, a misleading clue.
So scholars noted something really interesting. The entire section of the text where this mother and offspring prohibition appears, well, it speaks exclusively about sacrificial animals. And when we try to define our terms just by looking at the immediate neighborhood of a statute, we can hit a massive snag. Reading a law purely based on its surrounding text can sometimes lead you right into a dangerous logical trap. And this is a perfect example of that.
To understand why it's such a trap, we have to clearly define our terms. Sacrificial animals are specialized offerings, and in this ancient legal system, they're governed by a highly unique set of temporal rules. Basically, they do not operate on the normal clock. They operate on a specialized internal temple clock. And that temple clock measures the passage of a day completely differently from how the rest of the world does.
Part 3. Conflicting timelines of day. Day versus night.
This totally illustrates the core conflict we're dealing with. We have two entirely different clocks. On the sacrificial timeline, the daytime comes first, and that is followed by the night, meaning if you offer a sacrifice during the day, the legal day for that offering extends into the following night. But then we have the standard timeline, which operates exactly the opposite way. The nighttime comes first, followed by the day. Basically, the night gives birth to the day.
So here's the trap. Because the mother and offspring rule is physically located right in the middle of all these laws about sacrificial animals, you might logically assume it just follows the sacrificial timeline. You'd assume the day begins in the morning and ends after the following night. But the early legal scholars, they recognized this contextual trap immediately. They realized that if they relied on proximity alone, they'd literally be applying the timeline backward. They needed an ironclad solution from outside those immediate verses to rescue the true meaning of the law.
Part 4. Analogy to the creation, a verbal link.
This is where Rabbi Shimon ben Zoma comes in, and he points out a direct word-for-word parallel. He states, "It is stated here, with regard to the slaughter of an animal and its offspring, one day, and it is stated in the act of creation, one day." Notice what he does here. He bypasses the surrounding verses in Leviticus entirely, and he jumps all the way back to the book of Genesis, to the very beginning of time itself.
And this verbal analogy functions exactly like a mathematical equation. That exact phrase, one day, serves as a textual anchor. You see, in ancient statutory derivation, when two identical, highly specific phrases appear in different legal contexts, they are fundamentally linked. They actually share their properties. So the properties of one day back in Genesis are legally imported to define the one day in our mother and offspring rule. It's brilliant.
So, this builds into a perfect step-by-step logical progression. Step 1, the scholars identified the sacrificial context.
Step 2, they recognize the timeline error that context creates, that false assumption that day precedes night. Step 3, Rabbi Shimon ben Zoma applies that act of creation analogy using the specific phrase, one day. And finally, Step 4, by applying the timeline of creation, where there was evening and then morning, he successfully corrects the legal timeline for our prohibition.
Part 5. The final legal framework. Application.
To really ground this concept, here is what the finalized standard timeline looks like. Because of that direct link to the act of creation, the legal clock for the mother and offspring rule is now firmly established. The timeline starts with the nighttime. That is the official beginning of the new calendar day. It is then followed by the daytime, which serves as the conclusion of that 24-hour cycle. The night universally precedes the day.
So let's look at the actual concrete rules that emerge from all this. It is totally permitted to slaughter the mother during the day and then the offspring that following night. Why? Well, because when night falls, a completely new legal day has begun. That 24-hour window has officially reset. However, it is strictly prohibited to slaughter the mother at night and then slaughter the offspring the following day. Why? Because that day is the exact same legal unit as the night that preceded it. They belong to the exact same one day.
We've just seen how Rabbi Shimon ben Zoma used a really meticulous verbal analogy to bypass a misleading textual context and define the exact borders of time. And it leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. How often does the immediate context of a rule mislead us from its true legal definition? In statutory interpretation, sometimes to understand the law right in front of you, you actually have to look for answers at the very beginning of the book. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the text.